The ongoing war in West Asia between Israel and Hamas militants has turned into a massive humanitarian crisis. 1 month on, voices across the globe continue to call for an immediate ceasefire while demanding immediate release of hostages. Thousands of Israeli protesters, including family members of hostages held by Hamas militants, marched from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem to urge the government to cease fire in exchange for the release of hostages. The protesters arrived in Jerusalem on Saturday after a 5-day trek that started on Tuesday in Tel Aviv. Carrying Israeli flags and signboards with photographs of the kidnapped victims, they converged on Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's Jerusalem office, calling for more to be done to release captives.
This is unacceptable. I call on every NGO, every government, the Israeli army, to put aside any other interest and totally concentrate on the release of these people. And in the first instance, we would like to know where they are, what is their condition, are they being looked after.
Hundreds of people protested Israel's actions in Gaza in the Bahraini city of Muharraq. This comes as Bahrain's parliament this month recalled its ambassador from Israel, whose escalating war in Gaza has posed a challenge to regional governments that have pursued closer ties with Israel. While in Pakistan as well, thousands of people demonstrated in support of Palestinians in the Gaza Strip and condemned Israeli attacks during a rally in Pakistan's second biggest city, Lahore. Waving Palestinian flags and chanting "Any friend of America is a traitor," they listened to speeches by members of one of the country's major Islamic parties, Jamaat-e-Islami, which also criticized the Organization of Islamic Cooperation for not doing enough to protect Muslim Palestinians against Israel's offensive.
OIC का इजलास भी हुआ और गुप्तन और खुर्दन और नशिस्तन और बर्खास्तन हमारा यही ख्याल था OIC के इजलास में ये लोग हमास के लीडर को बुलाएंगे हमारे यकीन था इस्राइल को धमकी देंगे कि अगर 72 घंटों में आपने लड़ाई बंद नहीं की तो हमारा एक कतरा तेल का उन ममालिक को नहीं मिलेगा जो इस्राइल का साथ दे रहे हैं.
In London as well, several hundred pro-Palestinian protesters marched calling for an Israeli Hamas ceasefire. Demonstrators in East London waved Palestinian flags and placards as they marched in one of several protests held across the British capital. The march also comes after a giant national demonstration where more than 300,000 pro-Palestinian protesters marched through central London, with police arresting over 120 people as they sought to stop far-right counter-protesters from ambushing the main rally. While in Germany, about 2,500 pro-Palestinian protesters marched peacefully in Berlin. This is according to German police, who accompanied the demonstration with several hundred officers. The protesters chanted "Free Palestine" as they walked through the streets, while also calling for Israel to stop the war on Gaza.
Also es geht ja lediglich darum, dass dieser Massenmord aufhören soll, dass den Menschen in Gaza mit Barmherzigkeit begegnet werden soll und so ein paar Waffen jetzt oder ein paar Tunnel zu finden und zu zerstören, ist keine Rechtfertigung dafür, Tausende von Menschen zu töten.
Also das ist ja Menschlichkeit, gerade hier zu sein, oder? Also ist ja selbstverständlich. Sollte, glaube ich, jeder Deutsche gerade, der in Deutschland lebt, hier sein. Ne, da werden gerade Kinder getötet, Frauen getötet und immer noch seit 30 Tagen, über einem Monat. Das ist doch selbstverständlich, dass wir gerade hier Solidarität zeigen mit denen.